Great. Welcome everyone to the Study Melbourne Futures Founders Program. This session will be speaking specifically about our upcoming venture scholarships. Next slide, please. On behalf of the State Library Victoria, I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional lands of the Victorian Aboriginal clans, their cultural practices and their knowledge systems, and acknowledge that I'm dialing in from Wurundjeri country. Next slide, please. So my name is An Ngor and I am the Acting Creative Enterprise Manager at StartSpace, State Library Victoria. And so we're an early stage business support service for people with ideas, people with early stage startups and businesses. We run a suite of programs, events. There's a co-working space at State Library, really help people get their ideas off the ground. And something that we've been able to do for the last few years is a very special partnership with Study Melbourne. And that's become the Study Melbourne Future Founders Program, now in its third year. And so that program has gone through different building blocks, if you would, in the last year. And that included some regional roadshows where we hosted sessions in the Melbourne CBD, went out to Ballarat and Geelong, out to Monash Clayton, as well as doing some virtual offerings. There was a large online festival last year. We're currently undergoing some cohorts of boot camps, and today we're really proud to be able to explain a bit more and give some information about the next piece, which will be the Future Founders Venture Scholarships. So without much further ado, I'll hand you over to my colleague, Diletta Legowo, who will be running the bulk of this session. Thank you.
Thanks, An. Hey, everyone. It's lovely to be here, and it's great to see some familiar names in the room as well. So today's session, we'll try to finish at the half-hour mark, and what we'll cover mainly is giving you an idea what's actually included in the venture scholarships and who we've designed this program for. So we understand that the terms and conditions document is quite long, so hopefully we can help demystify some of that for you and answer all of the questions that you've got. You've also got the opportunity to meet the program facilitator today. So there will be two program facilitators, and one of them, Felicity Green, is with us in the room today. So she'll be doing an introduction on what you can expect in terms of what the experience of being in the Venture Scholarships program will be like, what sort of challenges you'll go through, and what kind of mindset you should come into the program with ahead of time. We'll also cover the application process and also cover the key dates that you'll want to mark in your calendars for if you are successful to participate in the program. And finally, at the end, we'll also have an opportunity for an open Q&A. We'll be running that one through the chat because this meeting will be recorded. And so if you have questions in mind, you can get them ready and have them handy for the end portion of the session. So what's included in venture scholarships? I'd say this is one of the most exciting aspects of the Future Founders Program 2021 to 2022. As someone who's been working on it in the background, I could be biased. It's a very exciting one because it does offer $10,000 worth of equity-free funding. So there are 8 scholarships up for grabs, and each of them will offer you $10,000 of funding, exclusive access to business coaching, and expert mentors. So the difference between business coaching and expert mentors, the business coaches will focus on you as a founder and help you build those skill sets that you can take into the future of your business. And with the expert mentors, their focus will be helping you with specific problems that you might be facing or challenges that you might be undergoing, such as challenges of, how to go to market. And so marketing or pitching to government or investors, so on and so forth. We'll get into more details later. And finally, the most exciting one for me is access to the StartSpace Loft. So some of you might have been to StartSpace before. The members area downstairs is free for StartSpace members to use. And the loft is actually the paid area in StartSpace that's designed for those who are in a slightly more mature stage of their early stage business. And Loft Access includes extra amenities and facilities such as this beautiful boardroom that I'm sitting in right now, kitchen facilities, telephone booths, and also extended access to the space outside of usual library times, should you wish to take that on. So there's a lot packed in there. It goes on for 6 weeks. And what else is there to know? Who it's for. This program is designed specifically for international students. So the whole Future Founders program, all the way from the roadshows that Anna was speaking of earlier up until this, is all about international students. So in terms of eligibility criteria, there's a few important things to note. The scholarship is awarded technically to a single scholar. However, that scholar can apply together with a team. So let me give you an example. Let's say I'm interested in applying for venture scholarships, so I will be applying as the primary applicant. I have to ensure that I am a current international student or a recently graduated international student. By recently graduated, we mean within the last 5 years, graduated from specifically a Victorian education institution. In addition to that, I should be working on a lawful and legal business operating within Victoria as well. If I wanted to add my team members to my application, I may do that, and I may add up to 2 team members. Let's say An is my first team member, and let's pretend that An is also eligible. An as an additional team member must also meet the eligibility criteria that I had to meet. So An must also be a current or recently graduated international student residing in Victoria, over the age of 18, I forgot to mention that one earlier, and working with me on the business. So that's team member number 1. If I wanted to add a second team member, there is an opportunity to include a recently graduated or current domestic student. So Simone Edwards, who's on this call, also my team member at StartSpace, let's pretend she's team member number 2. She's Australian, she's a domestic student. She would be eligible for that. But if you wanted to add another international student as team member 2, that's also allowed. The other thing to note, however, is if your co-founder or other team member is a domestic current student or recently graduated student, you're not going to be able to skip team member 1 and just add your team member 2. So making sure that we understand that team member number 2 is more of an addition to the first 2 participants. So the primary applicant, i.e. me, and team member number 1, i.e. An. Hopefully that makes sense. And if you have any questions later on, I'm happy to address them in the Q&A. Hopefully that's clear. I'm going to now throw to Felicity, our wonderful facilitator, who I'm very excited for all of you to meet. And she's going to give you a better idea of what to expect within the program.
Thanks so much, Delita, and hi, everybody. Nice to virtually meet you, even though I can only see some names on screens. So I'm from an organization called Ensemble Strategy, and I'm one of 2 coaches that will be taking the successful participants through the 6-week program that comes along with the successful scholarship. I myself am a serial entrepreneur. I also have lived experience of being an international student too, having spent about 5 years studying in China as well. So I am just beyond excited about this program that we have coming. So what is it? I guess it's 6 weeks that are really uniquely focused on you as founders. It's an opportunity to leverage some of the amazing support that's being offered, both the support that you've already had through some of the Future Founders Program workshops, obviously the 10,000 equity-free support, but this is about taking all of that and really driving action. So that's the focus of the 6-week program, and mine and Richie's role as coaches is to really say, help articulate what are your goals for your venture, but also your goals for this intense 6 weeks. Set up some accountability for that. Think about mechanisms to really help you drive that. And we're there to help you problem solve and create networks along the way. So the program itself, it of course kicks off, we'll have, a half day or so where we do really come together, get to know each other and set those aspirations, set our ways of working, etc. And then every week we will meet as a group. So we'll have a 1 hour session where we come together and we have those great conversations that are all around sort of the good, the bad, the ugly, maybe asking for a gift from the rest of the group, to share where we're at pragmatically in our ventures. We're also themed these weeks. So in addition to that sort of work in progress conversation, we'll also have 1 week that might be focused on how do you pitch your organization? Another one that might be how do you get funding, etc. We also have flex to be able to respond to the participants' needs for these themes, but we're integrating that with mentors that are available throughout the week. And Diletta's already told you the difference between mentors and coaches. We're here to help you drive action. They're there to help with their experience, their knowledge, and their networks as well. So we'll have the collective 1 hour sessions every week as a team, as a cohort, but then we'll also have one-on-one sessions with you. And that's much more tailored individual problem solving, where Rich or I can really work with your team to say, what happened last week? What's happening the week coming up? How are you tracking to your overall goals? What hurdles are you coming up against? How do we overcome them? It's that really practical, what do we need to do to keep driving action and leveraging this opportunity. Throughout the program, there are also another few, I guess, little add-on events. We've got some great networking opportunities. We wrap up with a bit of a cohort showcase. So it really is a stunning program. And I guess Diletta said what mindset to come in with. I would really encourage taking the opportunity that's being offered here. It's very rare that you get so much support offered with space, connections, coaching, etc. And it's just a very exciting time. By the end, our goal is that we've hoped you achieve your goals, leverage this opportunity, build skills that take you forward in your venture, but also to whatever happens beyond your venture as well. This is a program really focused on the founders themselves. Build some great connections and have a good time while we're doing it. Back to you, Diletta.
Thank you so much, Felicity. We're very, very lucky to have both you and Richie as part of the program. Guys, the team and I have been working together with them over the last couple of weeks, and they have a lot of fantastic content in store for you. And I'm sure you're going to be challenged, but you'll also be experiencing all of that in a really supportive and safe space. I'm going to move us on now to our application process. So some of you might have checked out the application form already. It is hosted on SurveyMonkey. A few things to note: the application form progress cannot be saved. So if I were you, I would get a Google Doc or Microsoft Word document open, and I would draft my answers to the questions elsewhere so that you can have them safe on record, and copy and paste them into the form later on. You also have the option to upload some supporting documentation. That could be a video, that could be a pitch deck. You're welcome to get creative here. And I know that because you're all innovators and entrepreneurs, we'll be seeing some really, really great content coming from all of you. And truly, we can't wait. Additionally, this form that we've set up is designed for the primary applicant to complete. Of course, you can collaborate with your team to fulfill it. However, it will be the responsibility of the primary applicant to complete the form, as the primary applicant will also be the one signing on to an agreement together with StartSpace to receive the funding for venture scholarships. In terms of the selection criteria, this information is available on the Future Founders webpage for venture scholarships, and Simone has very kindly shared the link over in the chat. As I mentioned earlier, there is a long terms and conditions document over on that webpage. So we do recommend that you guys spend a bit of time reading that thoroughly. And we've covered the selection criteria in that form as well. I'll just go over them quickly while I'm here. And I apologize, I didn't have them in the slides that I prepared for today. That's my bad. But while we're here, I do not want to miss the opportunity to go over them in a little bit more detail with all of you. So if any of you happen to have the web page open as well, if you scroll down, it's somewhere in the middle. So the first thing that we want to be looking at in your responses to the application form questions is what is the problem that you are solving for your audience or the market that you're targeting with your business? and what is the solution that you're offering. So, when starting a business, we want to make sure that there is a valid need for it in the market. So please ensure that you've communicated this thoroughly in your application. The other thing we'd be keen to know about is the sort of impact that joining the Venture Scholarships program could have on your business. So what we mean by impact is, imagine that Simone and I have joined the Venture Scholarships program. What difference will this make to the business that we've started? Will this help us, reach a wider market? Will this help us advance as a business? Be really specific in, these sorts of long-term goals and visions that you have for your business and how the Venture Scholarships program can help. We'd love to understand, what your perspective is in terms of the difference that we can help make for you. The other thing we'd be keen to know is something called traction. So that's, in other words, your success to date and what your execution plan is. So surely I have no doubt that all of you have achieved some great things with the businesses that you have. Please tell us all about that. How many customers have you got? Have you got a minimum viable product? Have you already got followers on social media? These are the sorts of things that we'd like to know. The fourth selection criteria that we'll be assessing on is the team fit. So we want to know that the team that you have has the relevant expertise and mix of skills that will help your business succeed. So for instance, you want to have a balanced team where you've got someone who's a bit of a hustler and has the business sort of mind. I'm making this up as I go, by the way. You could have a creative on the team who's great at marketing, or you could have a technical expert on your team if you have a product that is technically based. So these are just some sorts of examples that I just pulled out of the hat. And finally, we're keen to get an idea of your team attitude and your level of commitment to the program. So we do require all participants of Venture Scholarships to attend all of the workshops and programs within Venture Scholarships. So communicating that in your application would be super important as well. So that's selection criteria. Any questions we can address later? The funding. This is a little bit of the fine print when it comes to the funding. The $10,000 that you receive will be split into 3 tranches, so 3 portions. The first portion will be given to you at the start of the scholarship, so that's in March 2022. And to receive the $3,000, we require that you submit an indicative budget, so giving us an idea of what you plan to spend your $10,000 on. At around the midway point, you'll have the opportunity to submit a progress update. That'll be in early April. And at that point in time, we'll also release the additional $4,000. And the last bit of money, the $3,000, will be given at the end after the scholarships are complete. And to receive the final $3,000, we just require that you provide what's called a financial acquittal. And basically, in simple words, it's just telling us what you actually spent the money on while you were in the program. And if you haven't spent it yet, then you can tell us what you intend on spending it on in the future. We'll make sure that all of the formats and templates for these submissions are presented to you clearly at the start of the program, and we'll be supporting you as well. So please don't feel intimidated at all by these things. Key dates, I'm sure everyone would like to know. Applications will close on Thursday, the 3rd of March. So that is next week at 11:59 p.m. We will be strict with the application close time. We will not be honoring late applications. The top 8 scholars will be notified on Friday, the 11th of March. And the top 8 scholars will have until Tuesday, the 15th of March to officially accept the Venture Scholarships offer. So there will be a formal letter of acceptance that you'll have to sign. And once you've been confirmed, we ask that you do not share your winning status publicly. That will be embargoed for public announcement, because there will be a very special event on Thursday, the 17th of March, the Future Founders Celebrate and Connect event. I think I got Connect and Celebrate mixed up there, where we'll be wrapping up the Future Founders program for the past year, opportunity for international students and startup ecosystem supporters to mingle and network and connect. So this is also where the Venture Scholarship winning teams will be announced. So that's very, very exciting. And this event will be open to public. So highly encourage everyone to register for it if you haven't already. In terms of the program dates, the kickoff will be Monday, the 21st of March. And this will be a full day program, as Felicity illustrated earlier. In addition to that, Thursday, 24th of March will be a mentor workshop and mixer. So you'll actually get the opportunity to meet in person the mentors involved in the program. And you can get to know them better before you dive in with each of them with your mentoring sessions. There will be weekly work in progress meetings, as Felicity said. These will happen on mostly Mondays and 2 Tuesdays because of some public holidays in April. And they take place in lunchtime because we want to make sure that the program is easily accessible for everyone, even if you have other commitments and responsibilities. And finally, really exciting, on the Friday, the 29th of April, there will be a private showcase and celebration. So each of the scholars will have an opportunity to present to the StartSpace community what they were able to achieve during the duration of the Venture Scholarships program. You'll also be able to invite 2 guests, special guests with you to join in that celebration. For further information, hit up startspacehq.com/futurefounders/scholarship. And that is all. We'll get right into the Q&A now. So I will open up the chat, and I'll leave that up there. So in case everyone's wanting to note down the URL.
Hey, Diletta, I have a question.
Yes.
Hi,
so,
you were talking before about the different criteria that the panel for the venture scholarships will be looking at for the applications. What if you're unsure, for example, team fit? What if it's just you as a single founder in your business and you're not sure if you have, you've obviously got your own skills, but you don't have other team members bringing other skills? Like, should you still apply or?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. The way I would answer that if it were me, I would say, for me as an individual to run the business, these are the skill sets that I possess. And I make sure that I include all of them in my application. And then I might also list the various support networks that I have around me that might help cover the areas that aren't my strengths. So for instance, if I'm someone who doesn't get overly energized by the accounting or financial side of a business, I would perhaps write that I had an advisor or a mentor who has the skill set, who I meet with regularly, who helps me out with these areas of my business. So team fit could also cover people who are supporting you regularly in your business, but they might not necessarily be part of your team, or even the team applying for the venture scholarships together with you. Ray asks in the chat, in the requirement, it says running a lawful early stage business in Australia. Does that mean we have to be registered? I would say if you had you could set up as a sole trader in Australia as well. We haven't really specified what kind of business structure you have. And I want to state as well that we are an early stage business program. So if you are still in those early stages of registering your business, yet you are operating in Australia, I would still encourage you to apply. Yeah, cool. Thanks, Daniel, for the question. Is there a specific way the 3-minute video pitch should be put together? So in terms of the additional documentation that you may wish to upload for the Venture Scholarship application, so this is not a requirement for your application, although I personally would encourage you to do so because it's a great opportunity to convince the selection panel why you should be the winner of the Venture Scholarships program, one of the winning scholars. So to your question, there is no specific format. We just ask that you make sure that the file that you upload is accessible. So making sure that if it's a Google Docs or a Google Drive file, that the correct permissions have been enabled. Because if you do submit something that does not have the correct permissions, we won't be asking you for the we won't be requesting for the additional permissions, and unfortunately that submission will be voided for your application. I'd encourage you to get creative. I think that's a really great opportunity to think outside of the box and show the selection panel what you've got. We got a few questions here from Michelle. So will there be pitch coaching sessions included? Great question. So with the presentation, at the end of the program, we're not necessarily referring to it as a pitch showcase, unlike most startup events. At StartSpace, we support all sorts of businesses. Within the program that Felicity and Richie will be running, there will be a huge focus on communication. So in those weekly meetings, you'll be sharing with one another what are the things that you're going through, how do you, and developing those skill sets of how you talk about your progress as a founder. So that coaching on how to speak and communicate will be integrated into the program, and you'll have ample opportunity to practice it over the 6 weeks of venture scholarships. Hopefully that answers your question. Second question from Michelle, regarding mentors, what if we need networks that may be industry specific, in our case, food industry? Would that hinder the application? Not at all. We are industry agnostic, so we welcome applicants from all sorts of backgrounds. We will have a defined panel of mentors with specific expertise. Apologies, I don't have that list handy with me at the moment, but we'll share it on our website, on the website once we can. And if there is a specific industry expertise that isn't on the mentor panel that we've nominated, do speak to us and we'll see what we can do. We'll definitely do our best to pair you with a mentor who will best serve your learning goals and needs. And this third question from Michelle looks like a really good one. What does future founders wish to see out of us? How can we give back to the program or for future scholars other than seeing our startup grow? That's really sweet. I really appreciate that question. Something that we really value at StartSpace is definitely community. So we've seen people who have been members at StartSpace also contribute to other programs that we run as speakers or mentors, volunteers, so on and so forth. This isn't a requirement. We're offering the program for the sake of supporting you as your business. So I wouldn't say we have any particular asks, but we definitely welcome you to join in the StartSpace community and regularly attend our events, as after being a venture scholar, you'll be automatically placed into the StartSpace list of members. So we've hit the 1:31 mark. So that's all we've got time for at the moment. If anyone does have any further questions, get in touch with us via email. Someone from the friendly StartSpace team will be more than happy to help. Otherwise, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Definitely go for it. There's just short of a week left to apply, and we can't wait to see your applications and hopefully welcome some amazing scholars into the StartSpace family. All right. Goodbye, everyone. Have a lovely Friday afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.